Welcome to the Cold War Prepper. This is Lee, and today we're going to be talking part one of a two-part series. So today we're going to be talking about folding knives that I think are essential for you to have in your pocket, in your everyday carry bag, and in your bug-out bag. Should have one at home for you to use on a regular basis as well. I'm having throat surgery tomorrow, so I probably won't have my voice back until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'll do part two, which will be the fixed blade knife, on Tuesday or Wednesday. But let's start off. My very first knife was a Kbar Hunter that my dad gave me about 1963 in the Boy Scouts, and I lost it on one of our camping expeditions. That was such a beautiful knife. I'm sorry I lost it, but I replaced it with the Victorinox Swiss Army knife. Now, in my opinion, this is the original multi-tool. This does everything that a multi-tool made today does, except it doesn't have the pliers. It has a pair of tweezers, but it doesn't have the pliers. This is a very long saber grind, so it's a little bit thicker up here than it is down here, and then it goes into a secondary bevel. It's such a long saber grind that I would actually call it a flat grind. But anyhow, this is stainless steel, so it's hard to sharpen, but once you get it sharp, it stays sharp forever, and it is rust proof. So that's one of the advantages of getting Victorinox Swiss Army knife. From there, when I went into the Army, I didn't want this big bulky thing in my pocket. I wanted something a little bit smaller. So, of course, there were blade length restrictions on what you could carry in the Army. So my next one was when I was at Defense Language Institute studying basic Indonesian in 1971, I went over to Fort Ord and got the old-timer 3-blade because I do a lot of whittling. So this is the old-timer 3-blade. Loved it so much I didn't do any more knife buying until 1991. I kept this in my pocket from, I'm going to say, May or June of 1971 until, gosh, at least after I retired, February, March of 1991. Fantastic knife. If you're looking for a light-duty, in your pocket, everyday knife, this is the one you want, the old-timer. Now, after that, I wanted something a little bit heftier. I went through a bevy of knives. Wasn't happy with any of them until around 2008, I'm going to say, maybe 2007. I ordered a Schrade SCHF63. This is a 1094 high carbon steel. It does have a saber grind, once again. What I did not like about this, and this is actually my replacement knife, my first one I lost at one of our prepper meetings in 2010, 2011. I was sitting on a couch. I reached into my pocket to pull something out. I forget what it was. Accidentally pulled out my knife. It fell, and somebody picked it up and didn't return it to me, so I had to order a replacement. But anyhow, great knife, great purchase, good jimping, good knife all around. Love this knife. I think anybody would be happy owning this knife and using this knife. My problem is when I like to be the gray guy, you know, the gray man theory, so I don't use these clips. I don't hang it on my pocket either inside or outside. I just dump it in my pocket. Well, when you dump it in your pocket, the sharp end down here would wear a hole in the bottom of my pocket. My wife got tired of sewing those up and me losing change and car keys and everything else. So I needed something a little bit smaller. So I was talking to one of the guys in our prepper group, and I said, hey, I need a smaller knife than this. He said, you need to check out the Ontario Knife Company Rat. And so I said, okay. So I ordered an Ontario Knife Company Rat. And it came in. And look at this. Guess what? It's bigger. It's not smaller. Now, it is thinner, but it's not. But it is longer. It weighs a little bit less. It, too, has a fantastic purchase, good jimping. This is a good knife you could use for almost anything. I would be very happy to have this as a primary knife anywhere, anytime. So this is the Ontario Knife Company Rat. This is the Schrade SCHF63. This is the one that I carry in my everyday carry bag, my grocery shopping bag that people don't know isn't really a grocery shopping bag. And then I put this one in my bug out bag. So, I'm sorry, I put that one in my get home bag. This is in my get home bag, the Ontario Knife one. So then I said, well, I want something a little bit smaller, something that's not going to put holes in my pockets. So I went online and ordered the Kbar Dozier. This is the Kbar design of a blade, which I really, really love. It's also a high saber grind. So the saber grind starts up here and goes down to the secondary bevel down here. This is a 1095, I believe, steel, high carbon steel, made in Taiwan, unfortunately. But this is such a great knife. I love this knife so much I bought a second one. So this one is in my grocery bag, everyday carry. The other one is in my get home bag. And then I bought another knife that I wanted, kind of along those same lines. So I ordered another Ontario Rat. Now this is the Rat, they later renamed it, the Rat 1. This is the Rat 2. So notice that size difference. And so the Rat 2 I keep in my get home bag. So this is a fantastic knife. I would say that either of these knives, the Dozier, now notice this is a drop point. It's also a flat grind in comparison to the saber grind. So this is a solid piece of steel, no tapering or anything until you get down to the bottom. That's very, very sharp angle, 20-degree angle to get to the blade, the cutting blade. So either one of these two, I would say you would. I am very happy with both of these. I can't choose which one I like more, although I have a tendency a little bit more towards the Kbar Design. Now the one that I keep in my pocket all the time is a buck. It's called a buck Revel. So I won a whole bunch of these. This was a company had a whole bunch of extras that they were selling, and I won the bid. I bought 5 of them. I've given 4 of them away. What I'll do quite often is I'll sponsor a contest for Boy Scout troops, and I'll give a knife away. And so I'll have what I call a merit badge contest, and I'll give them 6 months, and then whoever gets the most number of merit badges during that 6-month period wins the knife that I've donated to the troop. So I've given 4 of these away. This one I keep in my pocket at all times. I've done the same thing with some of my fixed blades. I had a whole bunch of Mora knives. Then I had an SKS, cold steel SKS that I gave away as for the Boy Scouts. So I like to do that for the Boy Scouts, motivate them to get their merit badges. Then if you're going to get into hunting, I got this one at Bass Pro Shop. This is a Cabela Design. So it's got the gut hook. It's got a nice little blade here to get in there and trim. It's got a little bit of a serrated edge that you can use for some of those tougher cuts. It's got a big drop point so you can use for your regular cutting. But what I like most about this is, man, you aren't going to believe the saw. This has got double-edged saw. So there's got a set of teeth on this side, another set of teeth down here, and they're offset. This zips through bone like you would not believe. I love the saw on this knife. So if you're into hunting, this is at Cabela's or at Bass Pro Shop, their version of their hunting knife, and it's fantastic. You need one. Now the other one is for skinning. This is the Havilon. I love this knife. This is actually a scalpel, so you're going to get replacement scalpel blades. What I like is when you know how when you're skinning, when you're gutting, you get blood, you get guts, you get everything all over your hands, and everything gets slippery. This is thin. This one you keep hold of. This one is great. You can get through there. You can skin like you would not believe. It's just unbelievable. And when the blade gets dull, you don't have to sharpen it. You just replace it with another blade. It's a scalpel blade. So it's fantastic. So if you're going to get into hunting, I'm going to recommend these 2 knives. I'm going to recommend the Bass Pro Shop Cabela's hunting knife. I'm going to recommend the Havilon skinning knife. Those are must-haves. So remember, we're all in this. I'm going to put everything down below. Oh, yeah, I want to tell you one other thing. I'm not an expert in knives. I know what I like. I know some stuff that I've bought that I really enjoy, and I've given those to you. I've shown those to you. There are some that I bought that I didn't like. I did not show those to you. But there are 2 guys I want to recommend to you. The first one is the second guy I started following when I started following YouTube prepping sites. His name is Brian, and his company is, or his channel is Survival on Purpose. So he and Such were the first 2 guys that I followed. Third guy, Chris, Prepared Mind 101, he was really into knives. He did a lot of good knife reviews. I'll put him in there as well. But the one that I really, really like, I mean, the expert on knives is a guy by the name of David C. Anderson, and his company is Knife Center. You can actually order knives directly from him at Knife Center. So I'm going to put all 3 of those links below. I'll put all these knives, the Amazon links to them down below. So remember, if you do make a purchase on the Amazon links I provide, I get a very small commission for having referred you over to Amazon. So with that, remember, we're all in this together so we can get out of it together, and say your prayers and stay safe. This is Lee, the Cold War Prepper. Take care. Bye-bye.